Hi, I'm Robert Mazzeffi, a proud resident of Lake Catherine in Antioch. I serve as a tech team member for this lake and an active board member of Friends of Catherine and Channel Lakes. If you're not familiar with these lakes, Lake Catherine and Channel Lakes are the northernmost lakes in the Fox chain of lakes, a 7,100 acre lake system with 15 lakes that spans the northeastern Illinois. These two lakes are not only beautiful, they're vital because of their upstream position, and their health of these lakes has a direct impact on the entire chain, affecting water quality, nutrient flow, plant growth, and aquatic habitat downstream. Lake Catherine and Channel Lake share a popular recreational area, which we're here, home to a family-friendly sandbar. On hot summer days, it's common to see 20 to 30 boats anchored here with families enjoying a swim. Let's take a look at each lake. Lake Catherine covers 155 acres and reaches a depth of 36 feet. It has some cool history too. Before modern refrigeration, its ice was harvested in the winter and shipped to Chicago by rails to preserve food and drinks. Channel Lakes is 350 acres, about 35 feet deep. Back in the roaring 20s, it was home to speakeasy and gambling resorts. Gangsters like Al Capone and Bugsy Moran were frequently visitors. In fact, Moran is said to have stayed at a partner's home on Channel Lake, using it as a base for smuggling alcohol through our region. Liquor was transferred from secluded docks to boats to avoid detection. The boathouse over here was the slot machine for the gangsters. They had slot machines and was gambling was there. Urban legend said there is still missing money, coins.
Buried in there?
Somewhere.
Ooh.
So what's happening in our lakes? Channel Lake and Lake Catherine are nutrient rich, like many lakes across the country. Unfortunately, that's not good. Elevated levels of phosphorus, nitrogen feed excessive plant growth and algae growth. In the summer, these lakes develop a thermal layer, a process called stratification. The bottom layer becomes nearly oxygen-free, or anoxic. When it happens, it triggers a chemical reaction in the lake bed. Phosphorus, normally trapped in the sediment, gets released, feeding even more algae. This process is called internal loading, and it's responsible for 40% of the nutrients in our lake. Here's the cycle. Algae blooms, forms at the surface. When they die, they sink, decompose, and use up more oxygen. This causes more annexity, which releases even more phosphorus. Next summer, the cycle worsens with bigger blooms and lower water quality. And how aeration works is, if you notice on the shoreline, there's like a box on the side over there. That's a compressor. The compressor is plugged in, and then air lines run under the water.
Okay.
And feed the
machine,
the diffusers on the bottom.
Yeah.
These are real shallow. These are only 2 or 3 feet deep. The ones we're looking at, Lake Catherine, would be at 30 foot of water depth. Wow. And they're 4 foot in diameter.
Wow.
Turn the lake in every 3 days. The water will completely exchange over.
Wow. And then since you have people that own the bottom of the lake, you'd have to get permission from them to install these.
You have to get permission from the lake owners, and it only would run during the summer months. We could not run it in the winter months because of concern of winter sports, ice fishing.
Right. And would you have to remove them then in the winter?
Just turn them off. They stay in the bottom. You just can't have them bubbling because the bubbling would make ice not form.
Okay. And tell me more about these. I know you got your...
Let me get my script.
Let you get your script. And while you're getting your script, I got to check out this pelican behind us one more time. Look at this. We have a white pelican?
Yeah. We have a lot in the spring. They usually migrate by now, so it's odd he's still here.
Huh. Well, happy fishing, sir or madam. Good to see you. I did not expect a pelican. That's really great.
Great for this time of year.
Yeah.
Normally they go on, but when they come in the spring, you probably have droves of 30 or 40 of them in a group.
Wow. Wow.
And people are coming from all over to see pelicans.
Really?
I think Fox Lake has a Pelican Palooza when they're in town.
I love that. Okay, well, anytime you're ready, dear. Tell me more about aeration.
So, what are we doing about it? Through Lake County Lake Lovers Pilot Program, we're measuring phosphorus at levels of 3 feet versus 30 feet. The data shows that when the lake goes anoxic, phosphorus levels at the bottom spike, confirming internal loading is a major problem. So what's the solution? Lake bottom aeration. The Friends of Catherine and Channel Lakes is working on this as a lake improvement process. We're working to fund, install deep water small bubble aeration system. These diffusers pump oxygen into the deepest layer, preventing anoxic conditions and stopping the release of phosphorus, ammonia, and hydrogen sulfide. Aeration also improves the habitat for fish and aquatic life, supports anaerobic bacteria, which helps clean the lakes naturally, and increase water clarity.
All right, Swan family.
Little one, couple 3 little ones.
Look at that. We are going from Channel Lake through the buoys into Lake Catherine. Once upon a time, these were 2 separate lakes.
Here is our inlet where water comes from Trevor Creek. We were testing part of the phosphorus coming into the lake, and the phosphorus level coming through the creek is higher than what it is in the lake, which is one of our sources of external loading. It runs approximately, Trevor Creek runs about 15 miles up in the north of Wisconsin, mostly through farming and agriculture area where it picks up a lot of nutrients, runoff, sediment.
And you're saying your phosphorus readings are higher here at the Trevor Creek Inlet than at the center parts or the deepest parts of the lake.
And that will vary as when you have a bad storm. If you get a bad rainstorm, it'll be even higher because all the runoff. Friends of Lake Catherine and Channel Lakes has also installed biochar bags. Biochar bags act like a sponge for nutrients. So far we placed 400 bags in Lake Catherine and Channel Lake. How we place them is we put them in the water. They float. Once they're in the water for a while, they'll sink, and we tie them off to a pier post away from where fishermen can hook on them. Each biochar bag absorbs roughly a pound of phosphorus per year, a meaningful step in reducing the load. How can you help? Learn what your lake needs. Fox Waterways Agency Watershed Plan is loaded with helpful nuggets. These lakes need your support, your time, your voice, and your donations. If we all pitch in, we can protect and restore these lakes, not just for today, but for our kids and grandkids. Let's ensure they inherit a legacy of clean water, healthy fish, and safe swimming right here in Antioch, Illinois. Thank you for being a part of the solution. Let's keep our lakes clean, clear, and thriving together.